What happens when you mix a so-called journalist, a journalist who used to work for a Democrat president, by the way, and an unapologetic, Trump-supporting, America First freshman senator? You get absolute, awesome to watch, meltdown-inducing, liberal logic-fueled insanity. And J.D. Vance and everybody's favorite Clinton apologist, George Stephanopolous, that's exactly what they give us. And apparently, big surprise, they do not see eye to eye when it comes to ridiculous hypotheticals. Who knew? And I'm going to give credit where credit's due. George Stephanopolous, he runs basically a masterclass on propaganda puppetry, right? He essentially tricks Vance into some half-baked answer, and then he quickly rephrases his answer in basically the most ridiculous way possible. And while Vance is trying to explain to him how wrong he is, he just ends the interview, hey, thanks for coming, on to the next one, and it all explodes, right? All while mushy-brained people at home, victims of George Stephanopolous, sit there and think that they witnessed real hard journalism. I mean, this is what the left has got to resort to continue controlling the minds of these poor people.
Because you will get taken to court, and then when the courts stop you, stand before the country like Andrew Jackson did and say the Chief Justice has made his ruling, now let him enforce it.
Fire everyone in the government, then defy the Supreme Court? You think it's okay for the president to defy the Supreme Court?
No, George, I did not say fire everyone in the government. I said replace the mid-level bureaucrats with people who are responsive to the administration's agenda.
Every civil servant in the administrative state.
One of the problems, no, George, I said the mid-level bureaucrats, and one of the problems that we have in this government.
You said every civil servant in the administrative state.
Let me finish the answer, George. You asked the question. We have a major problem here with administrators and bureaucrats in the government who don't respond to the elected branches. Let's just give one very real-world example of this. In 2019, Donald Trump, having defeated ISIS, said that we should redeploy our troops in Syria and Jordan out of the region. You had multiple members of the Defense Department bureaucracy who fought him on that. So what happened? We have people who are sitting ducks in the Levant right now, 3 of whom just got killed because the bureaucrats aren't listening to the political branches. That's a fundamental component of our government, George, that whoever is in charge, agree or disagree with them, you have to follow the rules. If those people aren't following the rules, then of course you've got to fire them. And of course the president has to be able to run the government as he thinks he should. That's the way the Constitution works. It has been thwarted too much by the way our bureaucracy has worked over the past 15 years.
The Constitution also says the president must abide by legitimate Supreme Court rulings, doesn't it?
The Constitution says that the Supreme Court can make rulings, but if the Supreme Court, and look, I hope that they would not do this, but if the Supreme Court said the President of the United States can't fire a general, that would be an illegitimate ruling, and the President has to have Article 2 prerogative under the Constitution to actually run the military as he sees fit. This is just basic constitutional legitimacy. You're talking about a hypothetical where the Supreme Court tries to run the military. I don't think that's going to happen, George, but of course if it did, the President would have to respond to it. There are multiple examples throughout American history of the President doing just that.
You didn't say military in your answer, and you've made it very clear you believe the president can defy the Supreme Court. Senator, thanks for your time this morning.
No, George.
Roundtable's up next. We'll be right back.
Yeah, so you see that. I mean, first of all, J.D. Vance is absolutely right. Bad policy and even worse decisions have left American forces all over the world exposed and basically alone. So I agree with his original statement that they just tried to vilify. You know, he should stand up for those words because he's right. The bureaucratic, administrative state, all it is a bloated and dangerous, antiquated, just big government monster. That's the way I see it. And I think that these people that say it should be destroyed are absolutely right. Now, obviously, that's got to be done in a responsible way. It's got to be done by very, very smart people. So that means we'll probably never, ever have a chance to actually accomplish it. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't happen. But other than that, what's the takeaway here? You know, my takeaway is when you're the Democrat and nothing is breaking in your favor, you know, all their fake accomplishments are blowing up in their face, and even liberals themselves are turning their backs on them on a bunch of issues. But take border policy, for example. You know, when all that's happening, this is the kind of stuff that they have to resort to stay relevant and to stay in the game, even have a hope of staying in the game. And here's what I'll say. None of this is anything new, right? Both sides play this game. We all know that. But one of the things I will definitely give Democrats credit for and always give them credit for, they don't fall for it. Democrats do not go on conservative media and pretend like these people are their friends. The Republicans, for whatever reason, have never, ever, ever gotten that message. They have never gotten that message. I mean, they love to be loved by liberal talking heads. I just don't understand it. They are not your friends. What are you people doing? You know, they are not honest. They are not in search of truth. They are working for soundbites. They are working to try and, play a gotcha on you. I mean, that is their only goal. Their only goal is to get something for you to say that they can use. And they're not looking for policy. They're just playing plain old simple partisan gamesmanship. That's all it is. But I'm not saying that Republicans should not go on these programs and should not spread their gospel and spread their truth. All I'm saying is they need to be prepared when they go on there. Anytime someone asks you a dumbass question, think to yourself, what would Vivek do? What would Vivek do? But anyway, that's all I got, guys. Let me know your take in the comments. And if you haven't already, please be a part of the channel's growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.